everyone, welcome to my next manga review. Today we are going to be reviewing Berserk Volume 5. I've been waiting to do this. You guys know, if you're watching the channel, that I'm a huge Berserk fan. I've only just gotten into the manga. The 90s anime I watch regularly. You know, I've seen it about twice now, and it's still one of those shows. I try to get my girlfriend into it. I really wanted to watch it. She's not really interested, but at the end of the day, it's her loss. So, Berserk Volume 5. This manga really goes into the recreation of Guts. Our brand new, getting to terms, starting to know and acknowledge the people around him kind of Guts. I also want to give another shout out to every single one of you guys that leave comments on my videos. You know who you are. Thank you so much. I love all of the love that you guys give me, and it's really appreciated. That's what keeps me pushing forward to try and giving you guys content. I'm really trying my best not to let any of you guys down. So anyway, we should probably hop into this. It starts off where the last Volume 4 ended, with Guts about to take on this whole army. And, you know, before we didn't really get to see a pic of what he was dealing with. This opens up with the kind of army that Guts is going to have to be dealing with. And yeah, it's pretty intense. Like, you know, there are a lot of people there. So let's just see what happens. We see that Guts is taking all these people on. He's not really phased at all by the situation. He's looking at it as more of a job. Not only that, he's looking at it as a pretty easy job. Anyway, Guts is chasing around a little bit and gets interrupted by a little boy. And we get to see that Guts is looking out for his army. He's shouting to this kid, "Get out of here, you know, you've got to get out. I'm going to take the rest of them on, just leave and get to safety." Even though you could look past this as a quick little detail, this shows a lot about Guts. Not only does he care for people he's never met before, but it shows that he still has that drive of passion. You know, with this army that he's been involved in now, I think obviously this is his first battle. He's already looking out for the people that are within his team. Everyone's back at the castle and they've succeeded in their mission. But Griffith starts to notice everyone's talking about how Guts is out, you know, taking on this whole army. He's pretty ballsy. And Griffith asks, you know, where is he? And nobody can answer him. He just says, well, I don't know. He's just still out there. Griffith seems really concerned. This is noticed by Casca as well. Casca seems to really be on this shit. I get that Casca can see who Griffith is, and he's this unknowing kind of person where you never truly know what he's thinking. You never truly know who he cares about or what he cares about. But she really cares that he cares about Guts. Anyway, we get to see that Guts is slaying until he starts to actually get taken down, even to the point where he is flung off his horse. But luckily to the rescue, we get Pippin and Griffith. You know, they're riding together. Griffith puts his arm out, says, "Get on, we're leaving." This is where we get to see a little bit of a plan that Griffith has had in place. When they run out of the forest, you know, they're avoiding all attacks from this opposite group. And the minute they get out, they get swarmed. You know, Griffith just goes, "Right, let's leave." They slam left, right, while the bad guys, I'm going to call them bad guys, you know, the enemy team comes in. And they've got a whole armada just waiting, you know, with cannon, bow and arrows, and everything. Well, anyway, you can assume that this team just gets absolutely destroyed. Griffith and Guts are just at the side watching what's going on. This is where it's these little details, you know, of why the Band of the Hawk are so smart. You know, they're not relying on swords and these certain little things. They also do have genuine plans in motion. You know, Griffith wanted to go and save Guts, but not just to run in and save him. He made sure that he was going to save Guts. Anyway, we get to see a celebration. You know, they're all celebrating how they've won. We get to see some old guys. Obviously, like the king, not the kings, but, you know, the servants. I'm going to call them like the servants, but like, you know, the helpers of the castle. I don't really know what you would call them, but just some old geezers. They're talking about Griffith as a dreadful man and saying he manages to operate all of this personally. He is young and lacks the backing, but his men are extremely devoted to him and his tactics are brilliant. Truly dreadful. So I don't really get the point. I think they're looking at it more in the sense of he has all of this responsibility and all, you know, this army, and he has to try and lead the way for all of these certain people, meaning he'll never be able to have a quiet, comfy life. You'll never have that. But as we know, Griffith doesn't look that way. You know, that's what Griffith wants. We get to see an awesome shot of Guts. He's, you know, while everyone's partying, Guts is just up on this wall watching the stars. I really like this shot. I mean, it's nothing special. It's just a nice cozy shot. This is where we see the little boy from earlier, Pippin and Judo. They walk up to go and talk to Guts. They're just trying to make a light little conversation, saying, "Come on, you're the winner. You know, we're celebrating for you. Let's go have a drink." The little boy, his name is Ricket, and he's talking about how he looks up to Guts, and he looks at Guts as this brave warrior, and he won't forget what he did for him. It's pretty sweet. It just shows that, you know, when we seen Guts as a child in this army, and all the bad things that happened to him, it's clear that he's seeing that through Ricket. Anyway, Guts is just saying, "I don't want to go, blah, blah, blah." A little bit of a friendly chat between them all. Judo actually tells him, you know, "My name is Judo." So Pippin just grabs him, takes him downstairs. Guts gives him a whack to the chin. He's bleeding, but it's, you know, it doesn't really affect him. This bigger fish is one of the friendliest people you'll ever meet. It just shows that, you know, when somebody is this so strong and so mighty, they're not always an evil, not always out to do bad. Anyway, he gets used to it, has a little drink, and goes into midnight. We get to see more awesome. I mean, this volume, wait till you see the ending, like the last part of this volume, but the artwork in this volume is stunning. It's so nice. It's so clean, so fresh. Like, this shit be looking like something out of a Bible. I'm not even joking. Guts is back on his wall. Judo comes to have a little conversation with him. This is where we get a really intriguing conversation. They're talking about how, you know, Guts is telling Judo there's something different about this army. You know, it's just different somehow, and I don't really know how. It's just like a friendly little conversation back and forth to show that they're both basically on the same pages. You know, they're just friends. It's like, this is just character friendship building. And he explains to Guts, maybe it's just because we're all friends. Maybe it's because we're all so friendly to each other. I don't know, but, you know, Griffith also has a big part to play. And so they go on a big conversation about Griffith, and this is where we even learn somebody like Judo, who's clearly been hanging around this Band of the Hawk for a little while. Not even he knows anything about Griffith. Griffith truly is an enigma. He even explains, you know, Judo starts to even explain, I can't explain it, but, you know, one minute he could be this little baby, cutesy kind of guy, and the next he's got one of the scariest, deepest, frightful faces. You know, the eyes of an animal. And we get this really nice shot of him, you know, Guts thinking of what he's talking about, knowing exactly what Judo's talking about. Judo finishes off the conversation by saying, "I'm sure you'll find it here, the place where you belong." It just shows how friendly Judo is. Judo really is seeing a friend within Guts. Guts goes to see Griffith. He's heard that Griffith wants to have a word with him, and I mean, we get to see Griffith's little ass. I mean, this is just out of the blue. I mean, I guess back then that's how they did stuff, but yeah, Griffith's just, I mean, he's just showing it off. He's out pure butt naked. He has a little bit of a water fight with Guts. It sounds really weird, but I'm just going to show you the pages. I'm sure if I don't show you this, you won't fully understand what I mean, but it's not meant to be weird. It's like Guts doesn't even really find it weird. It's just a friendly little kind of play around. Except, you know, Griffith's got his little ass cheeks out. We're having a little giggle, and we finally get to learn about what's around his neck. You know, Guts sees it and asks him what is going on with this thing around his neck. We get the image. The same image from the first, you know, the end of the first volume of the Bailet. The Bailet. I do say it right now. I don't forget. He explains to him how he bought it from an old gypsy fortune teller, and it's called the Bailet, also called Egg of the King. You see, it said that whoever possesses this is destined to obtain the world in exchange for his own flesh and blood. So, I do not know who this gypsy woman is. I mean, she knows a lot, so whatever's going on, I get really confused in this manga at the moment. You know, later down the line when we see all of these creatures and all of these monsters and, you know, we're used to that concept. I'm still a little bit muggled in the Golden Age arc on whether it's normal or not. I mean, there's parts where it's clearly not normal. But, like, for example, right here, the Egg of the King opens its eyes. So it's clearly alive, and Guts sees it, but he just kind of gives a little, like, ooh, that's creepy. And, you know, Griffith has this really creepy... I do not like it. It is so creepy to me. Griffith just has this really creepy child face. I think that's something I love about the manga as well over the anime, is that the illustrations are so much more expressive than in the anime. You know, not that it's a bad thing, but the anime really goes for that 90s classic anime style, doesn't reach out for what it's trying to do. But the manga really goes for it, with like really expressing different faces and different features. But yeah, anyway, it got me confused on how, like, even Griffith, I mean, he's a weirdo anyway, but even Griffith just gives it a little, oh yeah, it's cool, right? It's so weird. But Guts does too, so I'm a little bit confused on how stuff like this is normal. Anyway, we get to see a question. Guts asked him, why did you save me? And he talks about, well, it would be a shame to lose such an excellent soldier in such a petty battle. So, you know, we're seeing, whether it's manipulation or not, we're seeing that Griffith is, I mean, saying that he cares about Guts to an extent. He starts to tell Guts about his master plan and how he will obtain a kingdom. This way we get a really awesome shot. You know, even Guts, I love the way this is illustrated. It's clear that the sun is in the way, but Guts is looking at Griffith as this, almost this godlike creature, which, you know, later down the line, obviously, when we think about what he becomes, but he views Griffith as this god, you know, this shining light, almost like an angel. I will get my own kingdom. You will fight for my cause because you belong to me. I'm so surprised Guts lets him speak to him like that. I mean, the idea that Guts lets him say shit like that still. Guts has this little conversation with himself in his head, and Guts has this, is he serious? You know, maybe he is serious, I don't know. It even has Guts thinking. He starts to go through his own head about, you know, all I've done is run around killing people. What am I doing? I still don't have the answer to that question. Ricket opens the door on Guts, it slams him in the water, they're having a little play around. I think these scenes, you know, not that they mean much, but, you know, he keeps calling him sir, 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 and Guts just says, you know, just call me Guts, it's fine. I think it's more, these shots are just kind of building the friendship. It's just giving us time on time with Guts, with these other characters, you know, so if anything important happens later down the line, we're not going to look at it as a, well, I didn't see much of that character, I don't really give a shit. Pippin joins in too, he throws them both in the water, a little bit of a fun play around, and Casca's just watching. I'm not gonna lie, I get that Casca's just intrigued with all of this, but, I mean, she just sits and stares. She does not do anything, she just sits and watches Guts do his thing. Anyway, we get an awesome fight scene right after this. We get to see Griffith in the battlefield, Guts is there too, and it goes to the next chapter. This is where we finally get to see the opening to the original 90s anime. You know, if you've watched the anime, you'll know that this is in the beginning of every single episode. In this world, is the destiny of mankind controlled by some transcendental entity or law? Is it like the hand of God hovering above? At least it is true that man has no control, even over his own will. Like I said, this is some Bible shit. And right off, this is what I'm talking about. Wait till you get to the end. It's just great illustration after great illustration. It's just amazing imagery all around. Man takes up the sword in order to shield the small wound in his heart, sustained in a far-off time beyond remembrance. Man wields the sword so that he may die smiling in some far-off time beyond perception. This picture is just... Where's Wally Page? Or for you Americans out there, you know, across the pond, where's Waldo? It explains how this particular war has been going on for 100 years. And we get to see a new king, we get to see a new character. He's leading this army. Here's a picture of him here. And he's just explaining about, you know, they're going to destroy us, this other team. Is there anybody out there that can help us? You know, can we just get any help here? This is where we see Guts rolling in like some superhero. He's just standing, swings his sword down. A whole army is coming at him. This army, by the way, is called the Black Ram Iron Lance Heavy Cavalry. So, yeah, a lot to chew, but, I mean, why not? They're running at Guts, you know, clearly thinking, what's this one guy going to do? The first guy gets cut in half, and Guts just starts slaying. I love how messy. You know, when you read some manga and it starts to get a little bit complicated, you think, right, let's just calm down. I don't really get what's going on here. But that's what I love about Berserk. It really works well with this manga. It's so messy and so filthy and so... everything's everywhere. There's limbs, there's blood, there's soldiers, there's armor, there's swords, there's grass. There's just everything slammed in one image. And it's so confusing. Almost giving the conception about... almost giving the idea of war just within these manga pages. This is when we also get to see the Band of the Hawk run in. Griffith's on his horse. Got his helmet on. He's looking badass. The Black Ram Heavy... I can't remember their name. Let me go back. I'm actually going to go back just to read their name. Yeah, the Black Ram Iron Lance Heavy Cavalry. They start to retreat. And essentially we get a little bit of a win. Guts is standing covered in blood. Like I said, the illustrations, I've not had this with a lot of mangas. You know, I've reviewed a lot of manga at the moment. Not a lot, but I've kind of made a little footing for myself on this channel now. It's very clear that this is going to be a manga. I am going to do anime, and like, I was thinking of maybe even doing like movies, horror movies and stuff, reviews, because I'm a huge horror movie fan. I'm a huge anime fan too. But I think I've made my footing pretty clear that this is a manga, at least a review channel. But the illustrations, I've not felt the need to show off all the illustrations more than I do with Berserk. Everyone's cheering Guts on, and we see Casca come down the stairs asking to have a talk with Guts. It's clear, you know, he even says it's been a little bit of a time skip too. Those two are famous for being at each other's throats ever since Captain Guts joined the Band of the Hawk 3 years ago. So it's been 3 years now he's joined the Band of the Hawk. Casca gives him a little moan, talking about how he ran in front of all of these, you know, soldiers by himself. It was reckless, and he doesn't care about his team. He doesn't care about his squad. This is where we get to see Guts. I mean, he gets irritated as hell. He just grabs Casca's hand. I love that he doesn't give Casca this. I mean, he does to an extent, gives her a little bit of a fly past. But I love that he gives Casca a little bit of a hard time too. Griffith intervenes and, you know, calms everything down. Before Casca walks away, she just goes, "You're too soft on him, Griffith." We also see Caucus waiting outside. He's still clearly got something for Guts. He's saying, you know, if you still want to kill him, I'm here for you. I'll go through with it. So it's very clear Caucus is still on this. I think he just needs to grow the up. We then get to see Griffith being knighted. So he is now being knighted by the king that we seen earlier. This is obviously a very big deal. This means he's actually made a footing. He's got a word to say in these matters now, in these matters of war. Everyone's watching the ceremony, and Casca starts to say to everybody around, you know, we need to step up our game. We can't let them look at us as this tiny, not giving a shit kind of group anymore. Guts is outside, swinging his sword about, doing a little bit of training. I like this idea that even though they are very close and they're friends, Griffith has his plans and what he deems important. But Guts doesn't revolve around Griffith. You know, it's clear that the rest of the Band of the Hawk revolve around Griffith. They are all for Griffith and whatever he's up to. Guts is not. So even though they're still close friends and they're still together, blah, 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 I think that's why Griffith respects Guts as much as he does, because Griffith isn't like Guts. I mean, no, Griffith is like Guts. He doesn't make all of his matters and everything that he cares about all around what Griffith does. Guts has his own personal issues and his own personal matters that he likes to take care of beyond anything else. Yeah, and this is where we get, you know, after that whole speech, I will get my own kingdom. That's what he said 3 years ago. So now there's been another jump, you know, another 3 years. So what is that? 3 years, 6 years now. He's been a part of the Band of the Hawk. But I think it's another 3 years later. So 6 years now. And I honestly do think that, just seeing Griffith on this horse, he just looks different. He looks older and just looks a bit more... just looks a bit more grown up. Anyway, we see that this certain particular war that they're in at the moment, a lot of their soldiers that are going into this castle are just getting slain. And reports are coming out that it's about this warrior that's killing them, called Nosferatu Zod. Can I just re-clarify how much of a sick name that is? As a badass name. We learn anyway that Nosferatu Zod is this mighty warrior that has slain thousands of warriors. But this is his catch. Whenever people think he dies, he somehow reappears on the battlefield. He's almost immortal, and that's why they call him Nosferatu. If you don't know what Nosferatu is, it's the, you know, the vampire. Anyway, Guts is at the door waiting and thinking about going in, and everybody else is telling him, don't go in, we've got to wait it out. We've heard there's Nosferatu Zod. And this is when one of his soldiers comes out of the castle. Half of his body is missing. I want to show you, but I don't know if it's a little bit too graphic. But like half of this guy's body is just gone. And he goes to Guts, lays on his lap and just says, it's Nosferatu Zod. Guts has enough, he goes in, and we see just bodies after bodies after bodies. And we get to see this awesome shot. I would have this as a wallpaper, as messed up as that sounds. But I would genuinely have that up on my wall. Such a nice shot. And you think that's nice? Wait till you see. Get the next picture. Here he is. Guts wanders in and finds Nosferatu Zod. You can tell very clearly this guy ain't human, so wherever he is. I mean, this guy's butt naked. Guts gets really angry, starts getting into a fight with him. This is where we learn he is not human. He just grabs Guts' sword and, you know, flings him back. We get this awesome shot of Nosferatu Zod. Oh my god, the imagery is so good. Every page. I just want to show you every page. I can't be doing this. I can't be showing you every page, but there you go, one more. Every page. So clean. We just get, what the hell is this? We learn that Guts is actually getting the attention of this guy. He talks about how you parried that strike well, boy. Goes for a little bit more of a clashing. This guy just breaks a wall with his sword, so he's clearly beyond human. When, you know, this is where we get to see Guts is on the floor shaking. He's got his sword, you know, a bit of cuts from him. He's just out of breath. And Nosferatu Zod saying, superb. Not one man, 50 years, has been able to stop my sword this long. So it's clear that, you know, Guts, even though he doesn't seem like he's winning here, which obviously he's not, he's definitely a strong guy. He's getting the attention of this Nosferatu Zod. This is where Guts starts to get the concept, you know, this guy is beyond human. He isn't on this world. We then learn that Guts is going to make a move to just rely all in one single strike. Nosferatu Zod sees this. So he's very clearly been on the battlefield for a little while. You know, he's living up to his name because he automatically knows what Guts is up to. He's thinking, right, so you're going to rely all on this one strike, but will you even be able to get the strike? This kind of stuns Guts a little bit, but he goes through with it. And we get to see Guts actually gets a hit right down the guy's hand. Right there. And Nosferatu Zod is loving it. He is just loving it. He's talking about, oh my god, I've never felt this way in so many years. You know, this bloodlust, this boiling of, you know, hate. You know, I can't wait to destroy you. And he just, like, evolves. It's so mental. I just want to show you everything. Nosferatu Zod just, like, evolves into a goat. Like a classic demonic image. He just grabs Guts' sword. You know, there's not even blood coming from his hand now. He's just grabbing Guts' sword, like, as if it's nothing. And this is where Guts, we see for the very first time, pure fear on the man's face. He's talking about, how can I take him on? You know, this is terror itself. So for the very first time, we have seen Guts lose faith. You know, he's always willing to put his life on the line, but now he doesn't even believe he can win, even if he does that. Nosferatu Zod goes on a little bit more how great it is that he's going to get a battle with somebody actually mighty. And right as he's about to tear up Guts, we get to see the Band of the Hawk run in with a big army, and Griffith is in the front. Everyone's shocked and just crazed at what's going on right now. Nosferatu Zod goes, you know, they start shooting Nosferatu Zod with arrows, and he just goes, how dare you disturb my battle? I'm going to make you pay for this. And we get this awesome shot of... It really is just frightening. I love the way he's done the imagery for this scene, because it's the best way to put emotion of how you would feel seeing this guy into imagery, just straight black and white. I mean, obviously it's manga, it's black and white anyway, but, you know, I get, looking at this image, you get the feeling that this image was meant to be in black and white. Nosferatu Zod is just wrecking all of the army, and this is where he starts to get a little bit of a fight going on with Guts and Griffith. They make a plan to run around the corners. They cut Nosferatu Zod's arm off. It is just crazy. He whacks Griffith to the side, and he starts talking about, you know, you'll see in this bar here, amazing, as if I get to meet two great warriors that can take me on in a single day, that I'll be able to kill in the same day. You know, just from this beast, if you didn't think Guts and Griffith were special before, they clearly are now. This guy sees that they are special. And this is where we get the turn. After he's flung Griffith to the floor, he looks down, and he sees he's wearing the Egg of the King. Nosferatu Zod backs off. He knows exactly what it is. He says, the Egg of the King, it can't be. A cub like him with the Crimson Baylet. And he just mentions the God Hand. Nobody knows what he's on about. We know what he's up to, but, you know, he's very clearly involved with the God Hand. You know, that's why he's this big monster. He's very clearly one of the monsters from before. Not one of the God Hand members, but if you remember when we seen, you know, the big snake guy and the guy, I can't remember his name. And this is where he explains to Guts. He's obviously taking a bit of a liking to Guts. And he explains him, I warn you. He says, if you truly see this man as your friend, then take heed. When his ambition collapses, death will pay you a visit. A death you can never escape. We get this amazing, something out of a Bible. I'm going to say it once, I'll say it again. Bible imagery of Nosferatu Zod spreading out wings. A pure demon. And he just flies away. I love the imagery of Guts underneath him too, almost like a foretelling, you know, of almost, you know, Nosferatu in this image almost looks like Guts. You know, it's like Guts' inner future. This raging bull, this raging demon out for murder. Everyone's back to safety. Guts is in stitches, and Griffith is actually in the hospital getting taken care of. Guts goes to see him. We get to see as well, nobody believes the story, so it's spread that they were talking about Nosferatu Zod, and that's the reason they're also injured. These two guys are like talking shit on Guts as he walks past. Guts doesn't pay them any attention. Oh yeah, we also missed it. I'm sorry, I missed it. We get to see this shot too of Casca blaming everything on Guts, and that's the reason, you know, this all happened. Judo comes to his aid. You know, Judo goes to Guts as they're all standing together waiting outside Griffith's little hospital bit. And he tells him, don't worry, it wasn't your fault. Casca just says stuff that she doesn't think, you know, she doesn't believe sometimes. And then we get to see Guts. You know, they're all waiting because Griffith is having a conversation with the Lords. And Guts just goes, right, well, I'm walking in anyway. I'm going in. The guards that are trying to stop him, Guts just throws him to the side, doesn't give a shit. He says, right, you want to come, Rickett? After knocking out these two guards. So he's just looking at it as in, like, trying to get your kid to go and see, like, a celebrity. But anyway, Casca goes in and gives Guts a massive punch around the jaw. And this is where everyone's watching, and he just walks off. He says, fine, I'll see Griffith later. Casca starts to cry, and he talks about, you know, why do you have to be this way? She's very clearly going through some shit. Everyone backs up Guts by saying, you know, I know how Guts feels, though. Lately, Griffith has been hard to approach. We then get to see Guts swinging his sword in training, you know, giving himself a little bit of a workout, and he cannot get Casca out of his head. You know, when she was saying before, you don't care about your comrades, why do you have to be this way? It's all your fault, it's just all in his head. And it's all untrue as well. You know, Guts is always trying his best to be the greatest person he can be. And it's so sad to see Casca belittling him like this, because he's really not a bad guy. I think this is more just jealousy on her part. Anyway, Griffith comes in, has a little bit of a conversation, and Guts finally tells him, you know, the reason he didn't kill me and you is because he's seen that egg of the king, you know, the baylet on your neck. Griffith looks past it, and he just goes, right, well, I guess that's what another thing it does then. You know, it saves me. It saves me from evil. Guts finishes off the book by saying, why did you save me? And this is where we hear from Griffith, well, do I need a reason? Each time I save you, do I need a reason for that? You know, maybe it's just because I want to. Ending it on the note of pure friendship. You know, I personally now look at Guts and Griffith as pure best friends. You know, they are purely... they've got a friendship now. Anyway, I'm going to say this is probably the best volume I've read. I literally cannot wait to get on volume 6. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. If you really enjoyed it, subscribe, turn your notifications on so you get my mangas the minute they come out. I have premieres on them so you can see them while they're premiering. It's pretty cool. But anyway, guys, I'll see you in the next video.